Hi, this is Father Barry and it's Day to Day with Saint Joseph. It's Friday and it's September 24th. Well, we talked about Jesus as a mediator and a mediator of a new covenant, and that covenant comes through Mary and Joseph and promises made by God back through their family trees. We talked about in the past the family tree going back to Zerubbabel on both sides of the family, Joseph and Mary, going back then through David, going back even mentioning, the core faith back even to Abraham's time, Moses' time. But the temple became the great symbol of faith put up in David's time, or at least the plans put up. David makes Jerusalem the holy city, and it's not just the government capital, it is the religious capital of the city, and the temple will be built there. Now the temple is where the worship will be centralized and where they'll bring in then the Ark of the Covenant, put it in the building, and Solomon is the one that builds that up. They had a meeting tent before then. But Jerusalem then becomes the walled city, and it has its special gates. And then you go through history, but the Jews are not faithful in keeping the covenant. And then you have the Jews losing, their place with God, and then their power in the world, and they began to succumb to their enemies. And the north and the south both fall, and the temple is destroyed. But later, post-exile time, in the last 300, 400 years before Jesus comes, you have the Jews returned in the exile, and they rebuild the temple, a smaller model. But then just comes a lot of time of practicing faith, trying to be renewed, trying to get back, but they're under foreign powers. For a little while, the Jews become their own nation again, or they get some power back, but they can't hold it. But the most important thing isn't the governmental power. And David knew that it was never all about the king's power. It was about the faith of the people in the land. And so along come a people, like through Joseph, like through Mary. People in Joseph's tree, the kind of people that Joseph was, that Mary was. People practicing dear, deep faith, trustworthy in God faith. And so they're there at the time when the Messiah is ushered in. They are there chosen to welcome him. Ezekiel's prophecies of the dry bones, coming alive and getting flesh. And out of the desert, there's this dancing person. No, it's not Halloween. It's a image of Israel coming back almost out of the sand, out of the dust and bones. And then Ezekiel says, I will sprinkle clean water upon you to refresh you. I will bring you back. I will put my spirit within you, breathing new life into you. These things of Ezekiel were prophecies that get lived out by that poor Anoim, that poor remnant covenant people who lead up to the time of Messiah. And Messiah finds some worthy people of faith in the Hebrew lineage of the faith. He sees people that have this, and he gives them a mother. He gives them Mary, a special woman, a new Eve. And just going back to Ezekiel, he describes in a new temple, and all this description of a new temple and waters flowing from the temple, an image of the grace of God flowing, and baptismal waters and sacraments flowing. And there was a prophecy about the Lord coming through the gate. And the Lord does come through the gate of prophecy. and a special particular area he comes through. And so the Lord who comes into Jerusalem in the temple as a child, and then later as the adult, the deliverer. It says in Ezekiel something about things happening outside the gate and then coming in. So Jesus is outside, coming in to the temple. Later he's taken outside the gate and crucified, right? But then he will then come back and fulfill the prophecies for Israel, to be new Israel, new Jerusalem. What Ezekiel saw in vision would come true in Jesus, and through the help of Joseph and Mary. And of course, all the early stories of the Gospels and the apostles and disciples and the angelic help God employed, and Jesus comes and he's Savior, he's a deliverer. And this tree of life is what we celebrate now, you and I. We celebrate that the Lord says, I am the vine, I'm the life given to you. And this tree of life, we're taking you back to paradise, to the Garden of Eden, the Father, the Spirit, and I, the Son, to give you life, my special ones, my sons and daughters, those repentant, those who want to love and serve me, those who are mine. I claim you as my own, my prize. You are my people again.